Ma'am, you need to step outside right now. Folks are saying you're making them uncomfortable.
I'm here at my daughter's graduation. I'm an invited guest and a federal judge.
Doesn't matter who you are, you're on private property. Let's go.
She was told to move and she didn't. That's resisting.
Fine. Please review the badge.
No, it's her badge.
Ma'am, you need to step back. Now. The officer's voice was sharp. I'm not going anywhere, the black woman said, calm but shaking inside. My daughter is graduating. Don't raise your voice at me, the officer snapped, already reaching for her arm. I didn't raise my voice, she said. You did. Gasps rippled through the bleachers. Phones lifted. A baby started crying somewhere high up. Folding chairs screeched as people stood to see better. The officer leaned in close, his breath hot, his face tight with power. You're making people uncomfortable. She looked around. Hundreds of white faces. Green and gold banners. Smiling families. Not one person looked scared, except her. Uncomfortable how? She asked. Don't play games, he said. You were told to move. You refused. That's disorderly conduct. Another officer stepped in fast, blocking her view of the stage. Hands behind your back, ma'am. That's when the room exploded. Mom? A girl in a green graduation gown stood up 3 rows back, her cap slipping sideways. Her face went pale. Mom, what are they doing to you? The woman turned her head just enough to see her daughter. Stay seated, baby, she said softly. Please. The officer grabbed her wrist. And right here, right at this moment, before this story goes any further, let me say this. If you're watching this right now, hit that subscribe button. These stories matter. And drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Her name was Maribel Rowan Cross. Most people would never remember her face if they passed her at a gas station. She was 58, dark-skinned, with short gray hair cut close to her head. No makeup. No jewelry except a thin gold ring on her left hand and a plain watch with a cracked face. She wore a simple gray blazer over a black dress. Sensible shoes. Nothing loud. Nothing flashy. She looked like someone's aunt. Someone's neighbor. Someone you'd never notice twice. That's why they chose her. Maribel had arrived early that morning to North Briar Ridge High School. She parked far from the entrance, under a tree that dropped sticky sap onto her windshield. She didn't mind. She had wiped worse things off cars in her life. Blood. Dust. Mud. She walked slow, reading every sign, holding her purse tight against her side. The gym was already filling up. The air smelled like floor polish and nerves. She smiled when she saw her daughter's name printed in the program. Ava Rowan Cross. First in her class. Debate captain. Full scholarship. Maribel swallowed hard when she read it. Pride hit her chest so fast it almost hurt. She took a seat near the aisle halfway back. Not front row. She never liked front row. Too visible. That was when the first whisper came. Is she supposed to be sitting there? Maribel heard it. She always heard things like that. She stayed quiet. Then a man in a staff polo leaned down. Ma'am, these seats are for families. Maribel looked up at him, confused. I am family. He blinked. Which student? Ava Rowan Cross. He scanned his clipboard. Took longer than needed. I'll need to see proof. Proof? She repeated. ID, ticket. Something. She handed him the printed program with Ava's name circled. He frowned. Just wait here. He didn't come back. Instead, 2 police officers appeared. That's how it always happened. Slow turn. Quiet trap. Then force. Officer Brent Halvers was the one who spoke first. Mid-30s. Thick neck. Pink skin already flushed. Ma'am, we've had complaints. Maribel stayed seated. About what? You're in the wrong section. I was told families could sit here. Not you, he said without even thinking. She looked at him. What do you mean, not me? He shifted. You're causing a scene. I haven't said anything. Stand up, he ordered. Maribel stood. That's when people started watching. That's when phones came out. That's when power tasted sweet to him. You need to leave the gym, Halvers said. Maribel felt something old rise in her chest. Something trained. Something steady. I will not leave, she said. My daughter is walking across that stage. Officer Lyle Morton, younger, nervous, stepped closer. Ma'am, let's not make this worse. Worse for who? She asked. Halvers grabbed her arm. And now here we were. Wrist twisting. Daughter crying. Jim frozen. Maribel did not scream. She did not fight. She looked Halvers straight in the eye and said, Take your hand off me. He laughed. A short, sharp sound. Or what? She paused. For a moment, just one, she saw another room. A different floor. Cold steel table. Men yelling. Cameras rolling. A badge placed gently in her hand decades ago. She came back to the gym. Or you will regret it, she said. That did it. Halvers shoved her toward the empty folding chairs near the wall. Metal legs scraped loud. People shouted. Someone yelled, "This is crazy. Stop resisting." Morton barked even though she wasn't resisting at all. Plastic cuffs snapped tight around her wrists. Ava screamed. "Mom? Mom?" Maribel stumbled, then caught herself. She looked at her daughter, her eyes steady. "I'm okay," she said. "Look at me. I'm okay." Halvers leaned close to her ear. "You should have known your place." Her jaw tightened. "I know exactly where I stand," Maribel said. He shoved her down into a chair. Hands cuffed. Head high. The principal rushed in, sweating. "What's going on?" "She refused lawful orders," Halvers said fast. "She's disrupting the ceremony." Maribel spoke clear. "I asked why I was being removed. No one answered." "She's aggressive," Morton added. Maribel almost smiled at that. The superintendent, Calvin Drexler, stood frozen near the stage steps. He stared at the cuffs, at the crowd, at Ava's shaking hands. "Should we pause?" someone whispered. The band stopped playing. The room fell dead quiet. Maribel closed her eyes for half a second. She thought of long nights studying law by a dim lamp, of courtrooms where silence weighed more than words, of decisions that ruined careers and saved lives. She opened her eyes. "Officers," she said evenly, "I am requesting you remove these cuffs." Halvers snorted. "You don't get to request anything." "I am telling you," she said, "this will not end well for you." The crowd murmured. Drexler stepped forward. "Ma'am, who are you?" Maribel looked at him. For the first time she raised her voice, not loud, not angry, just strong. "My name is Maribel Rowan-Cross," she said, "and I am here to watch my daughter graduate." Halvers rolled his eyes. "Yeah, and I'm the governor." Maribel met his stare. "No," she said softly. "You're not." A man in a suit near the front row suddenly stood up. His face had gone white. He whispered, "Oh my God." Another parent leaned over. "What?" The man swallowed. "I've seen her before." Drexler's heart started pounding. "Seen her where?" The man didn't answer. He was staring at Maribel like he'd seen a ghost. Maribel turned her head just enough. "Superintendent," she said, calm as still water, "I suggest you stop this ceremony." Drexler opened his mouth. Nothing came out. And right there, right before the truth broke open, before the room flipped upside down, Maribel sat handcuffed, surrounded by empty chairs, while the entire town watched. Waiting. Unknowing. About to learn who she really was. The silence stretched too long. It was the kind of silence that made people shift in their seats, clear their throats, pretend to look at their phones even though nothing was happening on them. Superintendent Calvin Drexler finally found his voice. It came out thin. "Ma'am," he said, "can you please explain what you mean?" Maribel Rowan-Cross did not rush her answer. She looked at her daughter first. Ava's eyes were red. Her hands were shaking. Her graduation tassel hung crooked, forgotten. Maribel's chest tightened. "I'm sorry, baby," she said gently. "This was not how today was supposed to go." Then she looked back at Drexler. "I mean," she said, "that you are allowing your officers to arrest a parent without cause, in front of hundreds of witnesses at a school event." Halvers laughed again, louder this time. "She's still talking." Morton shifted on his feet. He was sweating now. Drexler rubbed his forehead. "Officer Halvers, uncuff her." Halvers stiffened. "Sir?" "Now," Drexler said. Halvers shook his head. "With respect, Superintendent, she's already detained. She threatened me." Maribel raised an eyebrow. "I warned you," she said. "That is not a threat." Drexler's phone buzzed in his pocket. Once, twice, 3 times. He glanced at the screen. His face drained of color. The man in the suit from the front row walked quickly toward him. His name was Edwin Pruitt, a local attorney. Well known. Well paid. He leaned close and whispered, "Calvin, you need to stop this. Right now." Drexler whispered back, "Why?" Edwin swallowed. "Because that woman you've got in cuffs? That's Justice Maribel Rowan-Cross." Drexler blinked. "What?" Edwin's voice shook. "State Supreme Court. Appointed 8 years ago. Former federal judge before that." Drexler felt the floor tilt. "That's not possible," he said. Edwin nodded toward Maribel. "I argued a case in front of her last spring. She wrote the opinion." Drexler's heart slammed hard against his ribs. On the wall behind the stage hung a large banner, "Welcome families." It suddenly felt like a lie. Drexler straightened slowly. He took the microphone from the stand. His hand trembled so badly it made a loud thump when it hit the mic. The gym lights hummed. Every face turned toward him. "Everyone," he said, voice cracking, "we are going to pause the ceremony." A low wave of murmurs spread. He swallowed. "There has been a serious mistake." Halvers turned sharply. "Sir." Drexler raised his hand. "Officer Halvers, step away from her." "No," Halvers snapped. "This is a setup." Morton looked between them. "Brent, maybe we should." "Quiet," Halvers barked. Maribel finally stood up, the cuffs still on her wrists. "I'll make this easy," she said. She turned to the crowd. "My name is Maribel Rowan-Cross," she said again. "I serve on the state Supreme Court. Before that, I served as a federal judge. Before that, I served this country in uniform." Gasps rippled through the gym like thunder. She lifted her cuffed hands. "And 2 years ago," she continued, "I authored a ruling that limited police power in public schools. That ruling was meant to protect children and parents from exactly this." Someone in the back said, "Oh my God." A woman covered her mouth. Ava sank back into her chair, tears pouring down her face. Not fear now, but release. Halvers stared at Maribel like the ground had vanished beneath him. That's a lie," he said weakly. Maribel met his eyes. "Officer," she said calmly, "your department was named in that case. Your badge number was listed in the record." Morton stepped back like he'd been burned. Drexler's phone buzzed again. He answered it without thinking. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes, she's here. Yes, in cuffs." He listened. His shoulders slumped. "Yes, I understand." He hung up. Then he did something no one expected. He turned and faced the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice shaking, "I owe you all an apology." He looked at Maribel. "And Justice Rowan-Cross, I owe you more than that." He nodded to Morton. "Remove the cuffs." Morton didn't hesitate this time. His hands shook as he unlocked them. The plastic fell to the floor with a loud snap. Maribel rubbed her wrists once. That was all. Halvers backed away. "This is insane," he muttered. "She made everyone uncomfortable." Maribel turned slowly. "No," she said. "You were uncomfortable." She stepped closer. "Not angry. Not loud. You saw a black woman who didn't look like she belonged," she said. "And you decided that was a problem." Halvers opened his mouth. She raised one finger. "I'm not finished." The gym was silent again. "You didn't ask who I was," she said. "You didn't ask why I was there. You didn't protect my child from seeing her mother humiliated." She looked around the room. "This is what bias looks like," she said. "It is quiet. It is fast. And it feels normal to the people doing it." Drexler cleared his throat. "Officer Halvers," he said, "you are suspended, effective immediately." The word suspended hit like a punch. Halvers's face twisted. "You can't do this." Drexler's voice was firm now. "You're done here." A uniformed supervisor approached from the side. "Sir, please hand over your badge." Halvers laughed once. A broken sound. "This isn't over." Maribel looked at him. "Yes," she said softly. "It is." By the next morning, the story was everywhere. Judge handcuffed at graduation. Federal investigation launched. Pattern of harassment exposed. Body cam footage surfaced. Complaints came flooding in. Names, dates, patterns. The department announced a federal review. A lawsuit followed. $7.2 million. Criminal charges. And months later, in a quiet courtroom with dark wood walls, Officer Brent Halvers stood at a witness stand. His hands shook. He looked up. Justice Maribel Rowan-Cross sat above him, calm and still, her robe pressed sharp. Their eyes met. She did not smile. She did not scold. She simply said, "You may answer the question." That was the real punishment. Back at North Briar Ridge High School, the graduation resumed that day. Ava walked across the stage last. When her name was called, the applause shook the walls. Maribel stood. She clapped slow, steady, proud. Later, outside, Ava hugged her tight. "I was scared," Ava whispered. Maribel kissed her forehead. "I know. But you didn't break," Ava said. Maribel smiled a small smile. "I've been bent before," she said. "Never broken." That night, Maribel sat alone on her porch listening to crickets. The world felt heavy, but quiet. She thought about all the people who never got a microphone. Never got believed. Never got an apology. She whispered to the dark, "I see you." And the night listened. Power shows itself loud. Dignity stays quiet. But truth always stands last. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, what moment hit you the hardest, and why?